Ship log, star date, May 11th or something. Monday, it's Monday. Monday was really good. We got a lot done on these thinger dingers. Matthew really killed it this morning, and I got everything ripped down and cut to length. And all of our these pieces are scribed and ready for bandsaw cuts. Some of the bandsaw curves are cut already, but not most of them. So so that's yet to be done. Ed's gonna do that tomorrow morning. Bandsaw all those curves and sand those curves and begin sanding, knocking down edges on these base components. You can knock them down however you think is best, Ed. I was hitting them with a Merca after assembly to knock them down. Don't sand. That's me. Whatever you do, the part that is going to interact with the vertical, don't sand that. So bring that Merca up, but don't level off. Just go far enough this way to get those bandsaw marks out, or a little bit smooth, whatever you may do. But don't engage this face at all with the sander. Some of our assemblies looked a little washy in the last batch, so we don't want to do that. But otherwise, yeah, all the sanding you can do on this component, Ed, do it. And then we have, I'm running through a schedule right here, which I'm going to attach a picture of in the email that I link this video on. After you're done with this, because I bet she'll rock it through it, we can denail more. We can denail about time and a half what we did the last this last batch of denailed, at least time and a half we can denail. So denail and keep denailing. And we also need to get wood out for Terrell, that dining table too, because I want to get on that next week. They're ordering, they need 80 after this batch. So this batch, what we have is we're getting out 68. I told him 68. I want to get out 68. That means every single base that we have needs to get out, and we'll probably need to either sand this Sharpie off of this motherboard and use it, or we need to cut this, rip this off on the table saw, Matthew, and redomino it. Okay? This is our one completed component, and it's splitty. So we're gonna have 68. We have 135 base components, not counting these two, and 156 verticals right here. So we will need another 161. 161. Is that right? No, 160. We'll need another 160 bases and change, right? Just in case. And another 140 another 140 verticals. Yeah, okay. So there's a few details that I want to just touch on. And after that, I'm going to run a couple things through the bandsaw just so that that's available for Ed and Shane if they need it. Both of you going to be on the bandsaw just a little bit. And I'll walk over to the drill press for you, Shane, as well. Shane, your well, we're just going to go over. You're going to be drilling this termination hole. So we drill a termination hole past the end of the table saw kerf, and then we bandsaw from the table saw kerf to the termination hole, and get a nice little triangular thing spitting out the middle. We also need to pocket hole right here. It doesn't need to go deep into here. The table saw kerf is already cut, so it's going to be a little hard to get depth on that. But we definitely don't want it to go more than 1/4 of an inch deep into this surface. If it doesn't even go an 1/8 inch deep, I'm okay with that. There are some pieces with some rustic surface where you're going to drill that pocket hole, and those are ones where you definitely don't want to go too deep because the thickness of the actual board isn't going to be enough to go too deep. Make sure you get that pocket hole in the back. It shouldn't be too hard, but that is a 5 degree, so pretty noticeable. This is the back, right? So this is the back. We want it in the back. Make sure it's in the back. You can do it. The bandsaw is already set up to drill the termination hole right here. So front to back kind of stuff. I think you can see I have a 5 degree stop, so I know that I've got it in the right place because the 5 degree stop. I'm gonna leave that right there so you know. Matthew, I've got a note on the back side of this paper. I'm going to text you a picture of the note as well. These should all get all of the components when you go to Domino on Wednesday should be dominoed with a certain side up. Because some of these verticals have rustic surface here. You may still run into some challenging parts to domino, but it's going to be by far better if you go with, I guess it's I'm not even going to say with the side up that I note on this note on this whatever we call this project specific worksheet. Okay, just that's one of the little things that from me laying this out in the course of this evening that I wanted to pass on to you. Also, I have a note on the schedule that you'll see Wednesday. I don't want Matthew to have to sand anything at all. I want Matthew to just be able to get right into cutting dominoes, because it'd be great if he could get as far into the assembly process of everything as possible. So Ed and Shane, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is get all of the pre-assembly sanding 100% done. Shane, as you're working on the verticals, feel free to set aside just the 136 verticals that Matthew needs, and please pick through and set aside all of the buggiest verticals. You can still cut your do your 3 steps you'll drill 2 holes and bandsaw kerf. You can still do all those steps, but set aside the buggiest stuff and lay it out. We're gonna spray it before we do the next batch, because Matthew saw a bug, I saw a bug. So I threw away the bug piece that my bug came out of, but I think there might be more, so we want to do a borate salt spray on this. Separate that out. But make sure that Matthew has 135 bases. He can cut this one off, and 136 verticals, at least, maybe 138. I don't know. Okay, cool. But that should lead into, if Matthew gets dominoes done and starts assembly, Shane's going to finish assembly and begin sanding. We should be done with post-assembly sanding by the end of Ed's shift Thursday morning. So Ed, you might even be able to start poly Thursday morning. I think that it's totally feasible for that post-assembly sand to get even mostly done Shane shift. We'll just see how it goes. Yeah. So I've got notes on here for the end of the week. I'm not going to go over it in any more detail because we never know what's going to happen. I'm going to go over to the bandsaw and do a couple curve cuts. And I'm gonna do a finish off the kerf on the bandsaw too. So I'm gonna do that one first, Shane. So this is for you. Let's see how well this goes. Super sharp blade. Boy, this is splaying out, isn't it? If you graze a side, that's okay. Just don't try not to dig into it too much. But I don't know if you can hear me. I hope you can hear me. So you're just gonna go down one side. And go down the other side. Now, I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you noticed or can really tell that I really kind of scraped along the side of the kerf as I opened that bandsaw blade. We want this to be at its loosest down here at the bottom, so when the plexi slides in, it doesn't splay this out a whole lot more, so that it comes together pretty easily, because that screw, we don't want to make that screw do a lot of work. And you can also see maybe that on this top edge, as I ended that cut, it was my second cut, the second side I cut, and as I walked off into that hole, so I've got a little nubbin on that top surface, and so I'm gonna go back and make sure that this side of the kerf terminates straight. So I think you can see that difference there. I brought that bandsaw kerf all the way over. I'm gonna pause this. I can't pause it. I'm just gonna get another one. I'll be right back. All right, I'm gonna show what we don't want. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Okay, so this is especially it's you can kind of see it from this side. You can kind of see it, but you can especially see it from the other side. You can see on what's now the top edge. You can see how I kind of let the bandsaw walk in toward the middle and didn't hug it to the outside. So we want to hug the outside of that kerf. Make sure that we just want to make sure that the kerf we cut out with the bandsaw is as wide or wider than the kerf we cut out with the table saw. All right, so those two are done, and they're they're nice and wide, so that's good. Anyway, okay, Shane. Ed, I'm gonna cut some curves. We have our concave and our convex curve. I'm gonna see if that's probably gonna be the best angle. You can tell me if it's not, but it's probably not going to help. You'll definitely want to cut all of the convex curves at once, one right after another, and then all of the concave curves. I can tell you, it's just going to make the grabbing the muscle memory a lot easier. So do all of one curve, go through the whole pile, and then go to the next one. I like doing I like doing all the convex curves because some of the convex curves are already cut. If I do all the convex curves, then when I go to start my concave, the other end of the workpiece, they have an even balance. They're all balanced kind of the same way. So that's the way I like to do it. I've been approaching this cut from the end. I think it's easier to cut from the end and exit on this tangent path. Because if I walk out and I have a little bump there, that's a lot easier to sand off than if I'm trying to ease into this and I scrape along that face that, like I said, we really don't want to sand on this face at all. So I'd rather have a little bump there that I can sand and edge off. Than the other way around. So I've got my hand on this side. You can see on my off cut, I came to the inside of the line. Deviating from the line by up to 1/8 of an inch is not a cardinal sin. But if you deviate from the line and you jump right back onto the line, that's going to make it really hard to sand a proper kerf. So better that you follow the path of the bandsaw than that you if you fall off the kerf that you get right back on, or fall off the line that you get right back on. Now if you're falling off the line a lot, then you just need to slow down. But it's good to it's good to be flexible with how far you are from the line. So when I go to do this, I don't need to get spot on 5 degrees, but I definitely don't want to go in at 0 degrees. I'd rather be greater than 5 degrees when I go into this surface, so that when I'd rather be greater than 5 degrees, so that when these two come together, I'd rather it be an angle there than for it to drop awkwardly at a 90-degree angle. Anyway, can you see the? Can you even see where the blade engages? You can't, can you? Shoot. I'll do another one of the other ones. I'm going to do 2 of these and 2 of the other ones. I get here and I move my hand back to hold right here. Again, I don't give 2 shits if I leave the line. That's my line right there. I just straightened out. I lost it and I just straightened out. It's fine. So it's not perfect. I could do a lot better. I could slow down a lot, but circumstances such as they are. Let's do this one. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. I've got the line on most of this guy. Right at the beginning, I got off and I backed up and got back on as much as I could. But I'm still trying to get it done quick, so I'm not gonna slow down too much. I mean, this is a 16th off all the way. It edges up to a 16th off, but it's an even curve. because I didn't freak out and jump back on. So it's a 16th off here, and then it gets back onto the line up here. So that's kind of what I'm talking about there. This is great practice. This is great practice. So if you want to, Ed, you can always grab a couple of these. Sorry. Fucking pencil. Not even sharp. God damn it. Okay. You can grab a couple of these that have plenty of space here, and just son of yeah. Give yourself a few extra of these curves to warm up on. Some good practice, you know. Then you can cut to this line, and then cut to this line later once you're warmed up and everything. Okay. Okay. I think that's it. So, oh god, this is a long video. I'll try to timestamp stuff in the email. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.